What is this? What? Okay, so last night I went to bed and I woke up at like 4 a.m. and my eye was like twitching. I couldn't go back to sleep. It's this one right here. What is wrong with you, eye? I don't know what my deal was. I finally made myself go back to sleep around 6 and I slept for about an hour. Now, it is time for me to get up. I need to get ready. I was planning on making it to the park just a little bit after sunrise, and that did not happen. So, it is time. I don't know what my deal is. What? Okay, adventurers, it is time for us to take off and get back into the park. Last night we stayed at the Teton National Forest where we had a free campsite that was absolutely awesome. There were several other campers in the area and everyone was super friendly. So I am going to try to link that in the descriptor box below so you can find good free camping. We are about to enter Grand Teton, the official park, and as we're entering there was a little sign explaining the fees for coming in. Just so you know, it's $35 per private car. So if you have a family, I mean, that's a great deal because you are getting a pretty good discount versus paying by the head, and that is good for 7 days, so that works out pretty well, right? But what happens if you also want to go to Yellowstone, where there is an additional $35 charge? Between the two parks, you have spent $70. At that rate, you should have just picked up your America the Beautiful Pass for $80, extra $5, and you can get into any park in the entire United States for the most part, all year. The only thing it won't do is take you to the front of this line. That's the one you see in all of the postcards. This is the entry to Yellowstone, guys. It's the damage. Ooh, that hurts. $3.19. Well, like I said, we knew we'd be paying more being in the park. That is about 50 cents higher than the closest gas station. Okay, so today we started off with Keebler Cascade just before you get to Old Faithful, and it does not disappoint. I love a good waterfall, and Yellowstone has plenty of them. And I'm right here on the edge, checking it out. Mom, don't be scared at home. There are tons of different vantage points. So if you aren't wanting to be right out here on the rock like I was, let me show you where you can go. It's a little bit safer, it has a spectacular view, and you can see the entire cascade. Woo! Living. Coming out onto the boardwalk, as you can see not only the falls, but chase it around and see where it actually flows down as the river. Stop one, a huge check off the list, and such a success it was. So beautiful, so amazing, and it's awesome to see how being out in the great outdoors like this can really just like bring you to life. I was a little tired, I was really dragging, and now I'm wide awake, ready for the adventure. All it took was seeing something awesome. Let's move on. As one of the busiest stops, there are so many parking areas, so it makes it a little bit confusing once you're here as to where you actually need to go to get to the Education Center and Visitor Center. So I think that we're parked in the right vicinity. I'm not fully sure, but as you can see, it is packed at this stop. I believe this is it. We're about to find out though. Yep, that's the education center. About 12:40 right now, so within 10 minutes we'll say we'll be ready for it by 1:10. So that gives us about 30 minutes to explore the exhibit hall. Geysers in the park, and just this park, just this one. So this clearly is the most active site in all of the world. So it's really interesting to come in here and learn about what you can hear, expect to see, and even smell in some instances. This is the stinky one, guys. I love that they have a young scientist area too, because like it's so cool that kids can get a little bit closer look and be hands-on without just the ranger programs. So here they can actually see what the animal tracks look like. So if they're on a hike and they see any of these, they can totally know what they are. And for me, I enjoy this because it helps me to identify things as well. Yeah, that's important. But this is really interesting. It talks about Old Faithful and shows you the different steps that it takes to prime it before it blows. Really cool. Even the lake here at Yellowstone is unique because it, in some cases, is tied right into these thermal situations. And so you can see all sorts of interesting things you won't see at other lakes. And they go in and they explore these and they research them, and then they share them with us. Like these over here, some of the interesting formations that have been found right under Yellowstone Lake, which is where we were yesterday. How some things are able to exist despite these crazy heat. That's the case with the Mammoth Hot Spring. There's all these little microbials that actually exist and create new life despite these blistering temperatures. So they're using those to research things that are helping us in the health industry. And they found groundbreaking techniques as a result of something in a hot spring. So what exactly did they do? That's a good question. This sign right here explains many of the applications, including we stabilize our foods with them, we use them for alternative fuels, we even break down pesticides, and then we create cosmetics and medicine. What? Over here we can get hands-on and find out just what kind of applications that they have, and it's really fascinating. I've been watching these guys over here, and it's really cool. Not to mention, there's a little sign right here that says that of all of the microorganisms, only about 1% has actually been discovered and identified. That's a lot left to the imagination. Short program. Always good to watch the program. You learn so much. And this one, I am only assuming that I will learn tons. This has got to be one of the nicest park theaters.
Wildness. It's important to remember that wild places can be dangerous places.
It's a great way to find out a little bit more about the park itself and then also safety. For example, staying 25 yards away from an elk and 100 yards away from a bear or a wolf. Those are good. Spectacular. And now I'm walking over to the other side of the boardwalk. You can actually wrap around and see a lot of different things from here. And on this side, the wind was pointing in this direction, and it kind of smells like water out of a water hose. It's strange. Okay, we stopped off right here looked at the map and found out that if we take this path right here, we're gonna get to see a lot more of the cool features. This has been on my bucket list for a while, guys. Okay, we are stopping off at the Biscuit Basin for our next stop. This next pool is called the Sapphire Pool, and it's beautiful. It looks like something that you only find on the internet and that you would never get to see in real life. But I'm standing here and there's no color correction and it's beautiful. Past the basin, we are actually heading out to the overlook, and I'm not sure what to expect. I guess we'll find out, but we brought our water and we are ready to go. I am really excited, crossing our fingers that this goes well. I would love hiking this by myself, but with the bears in the area, no bear spray, and all of the things saying go with somebody else, I'm kind of hoping these people behind me come this way too. I hope. We're way up here, not even finished yet. In the distance, we could see Old Faithful going off again. Very cool. We are high atop the world and still not there yet. This is kind of a steep hike, so if you're not really great at altitude, I probably wouldn't recommend this. I've taken tons of water breaks and it's kind of hot, and yeah, we still have a little ways to go right up this path right here. So we're just gonna breathe and then move forward. I always recommend that. Okay, adventurers, we're gonna call this our and down we go. Yay! Some really amazing people while I was hiking. I love that. I met Emily and her mother. We hiked our way down the mountain and got to know each other a little bit better. That's why I love travel. You get to know amazing new people, and along the way you get to develop these new friendships. This could definitely be a problem, guys. There are so many people like lined up just waiting to get into this. I was really hoping to tackle this earlier in the day to avoid some of this, but guess what? It didn't happen that way. So here we go. Patience, we found a place to park. I'm looking kind of rough, but we are on our way to Grand Prismatic so we can finally see what we've been waiting for. This is like the grand reveal. It's like the ongoing drum roll. I just can't wait. Excelsior, and it's beautiful. It looks like the tropics, except of course it's like super hot. You know, no big deal. So a few facts about this geyser. Apparently in 1880 it would randomly burst up to 300 feet in height, but then by 1890 it had stopped erupting, and it remained dormant for a really, really long time until about the mid-80s, and then this bad boy fired back up. Now there's no way, unlike Old Faithful, that they can actually predict when it is going to erupt, but whenever it does, it's between 50 and 300 feet. It's a mammoth. But right now it just looks so peaceful and kind. According to the information, the reason why the crater is so large is because whenever it used to explode huge, it would blow it out. So now that it's not doing near as much, it doesn't have to fill up that space, but it does have the room to become massive again. I can see it bubbling right over this edge, and what would we do if it blew up? Would we have warning? That's kind of scary. Like, I don't know how I feel about that now. I may be standing like way too close. already 5 o'clock and we have come up the map right here and made it almost to Madison. I feel like we did not get near as far as I thought we would today. There's just so much stuff to do. Just a short distance past Madison, still on the west side of the park, we pulled over at Gibbons Falls. Now there are 2 trails here, both of which are paved and completely ADA friendly, so that's kind of cool. I am going to check out both the upper and lower falls view, and yeah, they're really short, 400 feet, 1,000 feet. So as you can see, that is another falls that just does not disappoint. There are so many gorgeous waterfalls in this park. It becomes overwhelming. Every single pullout has some kind of amazing thing. And I have been in the park now since early this morning and haven't even made it around one whole loop yet. Mind you, I did hike, but still, there's just that much to do here. Point is perfect. The mountain in front of us shades us from that harsh sun. The view, guys, the view is so amazing. Sure, you can get a little bit closer to it at the first stop, but I could do this all day. The only thing that is slightly, and I do mean slightly, alarming is the fact that the clouds are starting to collect more and more. And whenever I was driving up the mountain, I saw some of those bands where you could definitely tell it's raining kind of in the distance. Now, heading north, this could become a problem. Just before you go down toward the lower falls, you'll find this sign right here. It talks about all of the rock construction that was done to secure this area as well as the road. And it's interesting because they have a rate of pay card even on here. The contractor, the big guy in charge, $8. What? Like, really? And that's per day. So that was highballing back then. Now, for you to be a common laborer, you made $4.50 to $5.50 per day. Wow. I spent over $3 in just gas today. And some people were making just over $1 more than that. What? I can't imagine doing all this to be a super easy job. Like, these things are huge, like so big. Here's a smaller one. Look at this. This is a small one, and it is probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3 hands long, a hand tall, a hand, almost 2 hands. Wow. So that thing probably weighs at least, and this is on the super low side, 50 to 60 pounds. They weren't using the machinery that we use today, guys. No, they had much more primitive machinery and their hands. Wow. Today, it's like the adventure is never going to end. We just pulled up to Barrow Springs, where we're about to check out a very short boardwalk in what definitely smells like sulfur. We have a fun fact. For anyone who has wondered what the difference between a hot spring like something we get into and a hot spring like this is, there's a huge difference. This is only a couple of degrees below boiling. Naturally, that means you can't get in it. Unlike the hot springs that we enjoy getting in, which are considerably below boiling. If we were to get into this one, it would only take a few moments before our skin would severely have irritation. We would start feeling extremely uncomfortable, and then we would probably start going into shock. That's the difference, guys. That is why we cannot get into these. And there's a lot of people who continuously are asking rangers,
why can't I get into the hot spring? I don't understand. Why is the hot spring not cool for me? I don't understand.
It's not the same. It's not the same. One of these is not like the other. This one is it. Just saying. This mountain behind me is very unique because when there's no traffic passing by, you can see the steam vents and you can hear the mountain talk. Now, stopping by the kiosk, as always, is super educational. On here, it explains why the steam vent is the way that it is. It basically is allowing all of the pressure under the surface to escape with the very little amount of water, and that's what creates the steam. But wait, there's more. Right here, it talks about the residents of this area, and that in itself is kind of interesting because there's these little clay particles that whenever the heat below come to the surface, they pop. And there's all of these little bacterias and microbials and all sorts of things that exist in those little tiny microscopic places that are completely not visible to us just looking out here. The body is tired, like so tired. All I want to do is get to the north entrance, and I have a campsite picked out just beyond the bounds. And I am going to sleep like a baby tonight. We have done so many activities. I love days like today, but they are exhausting. Look guys, more construction. We have come to a one-lane road. There are several of these kind of scattered throughout the park, and with your loops being only 2 lanes, it makes it very interesting. This one did not have an expected time for delay, which makes me a little nervous. Oh no! We're still here. 30 minutes later. Haven't moved an inch. Nope. Guys, this is getting ridiculous. So ridiculous. We've been here 40 minutes now. Haven't moved an inch. We might be making progress, guys. Finally, we have traffic. 45 minutes into our wait. At last. Oh, let's see what all this mess was about. There's a bison, guys. Look. The bison was not the problem, though. Nope. Nope, the bison's just chilling. It was these guys. It was their problem. Well, that was fun. So now that took the greater portion of an hour, it's gonna make our campsite a little bit more tricky. Oh, you know, no big deal, guys. I'm just sitting here eating on the side of the road. Okay, hi, Mr. Bison. Are you thinking about coming over here? Are you? Guys, since we're already running so late into the evening, I thought, why not just stop off here? Oh, it's so pretty. It's so peaceful. And we have a beautiful sky behind us. Look at that. Gorgeous, right? Or stop. Might as well, right? This is so different than any of the other places that I have seen for a couple of different formations. There's one back there, which I'll show you now. And then there's this one, which in my opinion looks like snow. It's beautiful, and the formations at the top that hang down almost remind me of a cave. just kind of looks like snow. But it's like a completely alien landscape. It's so strange. And all of the trees that are in this particular area that are right in the midst of this have no leaves. I'm not sure if that was part of the fire or because of the minerals that are being deposited. This morning, whenever I woke up and came to Yellowstone, I honestly didn't know what to expect. I had some lofty goals, a few ideas, and a couple of expectations. But never in a million years did I think I was going to see some of the magnificent, beautiful things that I did today. So I thought it was only fitting that I leave it here with Mammoth Hot Spring. Mammoth is a must-see if you are ever at the north side of the park. It is breathtaking and definitely opens the park with a bang. Right now, I'm about to exit through the north exit, go find my campsite, and do it all again tomorrow. We're gonna take on the eastern side of the Till next time, guys, bye. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell icon for future notifications of all of my uploads. And guess what, guys? Tomorrow we're back. Yeah.